I want to take a moment today to talk about this feeling out there in the air in Canada that more lockdowns, more restrictions are kind of inevitable. It seems like we're creeping in that direction, does it not? What you hear federally, provincially from your mayor, trick-or-treating, it's just not safe. So says, well, in Ontario, they're saying that. Not so much in other provinces, but they still want you to know it's risky business. And conversations about what region will be shut down next, what things are going to be restricted, that's where the momentum is at. We're not talking about, hey, let's get this thing reopened. We're talking about, well, is this thing trustworthy? Should we shut that thing down? Even though, and here's the strange thing about this whole conversation, even though what's going on out in the community, medical experts even, are suggestions that things are actually going pretty well, a lot better than we thought they would be. There were concerns that back to school would be atrocious, that there would be people seriously ill because of it, maybe a few teachers dying or something. I mean, I hate to say it, but that's just what people were predicting. That, thankfully, has not yet come true, and it does not even seem we are on the pathway towards a scenario like all of that. Meanwhile, medical experts stepping forward. I spoke to a guy who runs the coronavirus ward at a downtown hospital in Toronto, St. Michael's Hospital, and he says, hey, things are actually going pretty well. We are improving. Treatments are a lot better. It used to be you go into the ICU, things were dicey. Now, more and more people are leaving. They're getting hospitalized, but they're getting better. We're treating them well. So it's kind of a good news story when you look at a lot of indicators. And yet it's not, from the way a lot of politicians and officials are discussing. Ontario Premier Doug Ford on Friday, he said quite a statement. He was being asked about reopenings and so forth, and he said, look, if we get to 1,000 cases a day, there's not gonna be an economy anymore. Yikes, what do you mean? Is that just a passive observation? Was that a threat that he will lock things down if they get to 1,000 cases per day? And just for reference, Ontario's hovering close-ish to that right now. I mean, some days it's 690, 750, 850. They've hit over 900 a couple times, so it's not inconceivable to be within 1,000 cases, to be over 1,000 cases coming up in a week or two from now, even though most people will still be going out and about their daily lives and they won't have still known a single person who has been infected with coronavirus even mildly, let alone severely. How did we get to this point? I think inertia is playing a big role in this. What do I mean by that? Government inertia and the inertia of very large institutions is a very powerful thing. So you get the ball rolling in one direction. And even if a lot of people, even in that operation, don't think it's a good idea anymore, it's just so hard to turn things around. That's what you're set on. That's where you're headed. Think about something like, say, corporate welfare. Liberal, conservative, NDP, well, not so much liberal, but NDP and conservative all agree corporate welfare, not good. In the leadership races, they say, we've got to ban it. Year after year, whoever gets into power, they're still doling it out, and they're proud about it, and they're smiling at the press conferences and so forth. They just can't stop doing it because, oh, well, I don't know what happens, and, well, this other jurisdiction's doing it, and we don't know, well, what's the alternative, and so forth. They're just stuck in a rut doing it. There's a similar thing here with the restrictions and the lockdowns. Well, what else would we do? Do you have a better way and so forth? There's a major nervousness about it. You know, back in February when people, well, such as myself, proposed, you know, there's this crazy thing happening in Wuhan and it's in Italy and Iran now and it just looks awful. We don't want it here. Maybe we should ground some planes or maybe even quarantine people who are coming back from Wuhan. And people told me that it's xenophobic and unconstitutional. No, we can never do it and so forth. Those were the very people who are now saying lockdown thousands of times more than just quarantine one single flight from Wuhan. It is incredible. So how do we deal with this inertia? I think you just have to keep pushing, keep prodding, keep asking the questions because that inertia, it's so heavy and so powerful and it's slow moving, but it's difficult to push back. So you just got to keep pushing back. And you got to keep bringing up those points and more voices, and slowly they can stabilize, and slowly the momentum heads in the other direction. We shall hope, we shall see.